In this video, we shall define what are disjoint cycles and prove the result that every permutation can be written as a product of disjoint cycles. Consider these two permutations alpha and beta on 5 elements 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let us first write alpha and beta in cycle notation. So, alpha is equal to, we start with 1. Under alpha 1 goes to 2 and 2 goes to 1, 3 goes to 3, 4 goes to 5 and 5 goes to 4. If we ignore this symbol 3 where 3 goes to 3, so alpha becomes 1 2 into 4 5 with the understanding that 3 goes to 3. Beta can be written as 1, start with 1, 1 goes to 5, 5 goes to 3 and 3 goes to 1. So this cycle is closed. Then we start with the smallest symbol from the remaining symbols. So we start with 2, 2 goes to 4 and 4 goes to 2. So all symbols have appeared, all the 5 symbols. So beta is this. So in cycle notation form, alpha is 1 2 into 4 5 and beta is 1 5 3 into 2 4. So if we take the product of these two, so alpha beta will become this one 1 2 4 5 into 1 5 3 and 2 4. Now see carefully this alpha permutation, it's a product of two cycles 1 2 and 4 5, and in 1 2 and 4 5 no symbol is common. In the first cycle two symbols are appearing 1 and 2, and in the second cycle again two symbols are appearing 4 and 5, but there is no common symbols between these two cycles. Similarly, beta is also a product of two cycles 1 5 3 and 2 4, and there is no common symbol between these two cycles. But alpha beta is a product of four cycles, and you see that these two cycles have element 5 in common. These two cycles 4 5 and 1 5 3 have element number symbol 5 in common, and similarly 1 2 and 2 4 also have symbol 2 common. We say that two cycles are disjoint if there is no common symbol between them. So let us define this concept. Two cycles are called disjoint if there are no common symbol in them. So in alpha 1 2 and 4 5 are disjoint, and in beta 1 5 3 and 2 4 are disjoint, but in alpha beta 4 5 and 1 5 3 are not disjoint cycles. Consider these two permutations alpha and beta. Alpha is 1 2 into 5 4 3 and beta is 1 2 4 4 5 2 and 3 1 2. So alpha is a product of disjoint cycles, but beta is not a product of disjoint cycles. If a permutation is written in disjoint cycle form, then we can immediately tell the images of all the elements. For example, in alpha we can immediately tell that 1 goes to 2, 2 goes to 1, 5 goes to 4, 4 goes to 3 and 3 goes to 5. But we will have to do a little bit effort to find out where 1 goes to under beta. So it would be better to write beta in disjoint cycle form if it is possible. So let us see whether we can write beta in a disjoint cycle form or not. Notice that beta is a product of three permutations. First one is this, let us call it alpha 1 and then alpha 2 and then alpha 3. So if we want to know the image of 1 under beta, so beta of 1 will be alpha 1 of 1, and then we will apply alpha 2 on this, and then apply alpha 3 on this. So we have to apply 3 permutations on 1, and then we will know what is the image of 1 under beta. So we start with 1, we will see where 1 goes to under alpha 1. So under alpha 1, 1 goes to 2. So just keep in mind that 1 goes to 2, and then we will see the image of 2 here in alpha 2. So 1 goes to 2 under alpha 1 means we have obtained alpha 1 of 1. So we will see now where 2 goes under alpha 2. So under alpha 2, 2 goes to 4, and then we will see where 4 goes here under alpha 3. Under alpha 3, 4 goes to 1. So ultimately under beta 1 goes to 1. So this cycle is closed. Then we will pick the second smallest element 2. Under alpha 1, 2 goes to 3. Under alpha 2, 3 goes to 3 because 3 is not appearing in alpha 2. So 3 goes to 3 here, and then in alpha 3 also 3 is not appearing. So 3 goes to 3 here also. So ultimately under beta 2 goes to 3. Now we will see the where 3 goes under beta. So under alpha 1, 3 goes to 1, then in alpha 2 1 goes to 1, but in alpha 3 1 goes to 2. So 3 goes to 2 under beta. So this cycle is also closed. Now we take the next symbol 4. In alpha 1, 4 goes to 4. In alpha 2, 4 goes to 5. And in alpha 3, 5 goes to 5. So 4 goes to 5 under beta. Now let us check the symbol 5. Under alpha 1, 5 goes to 5. It is not appearing here. Under alpha 2, 5 goes to 2. And in alpha 3, 2 goes to 4. So ultimately 5 goes to 4. So all the symbols have appeared 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So beta is nothing but 2, 3 and 4, 5. Beta is a product of now disjoint cycles 2, 3 and 4, 5. Now notice that how easy it is to tell where 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 go under beta. Under beta 1 goes to 1, 2 goes to 3, 3 goes to 2, 4 goes to 5 and 5 goes to 4. So we have written beta in a product of disjoint cycles form, but this is not a coincidence. Our next theorem tells us that every permutation can be written as a product of disjoint cycles. Before proving the theorem, let us define what is length of a cycle. The length of a cycle is simply the number of symbols appearing in it. For example, 1, 2, 3 is a cycle of length 3, and 4, 3, 1, 2 is a cycle of length 4. Its length is 4 and its length is 3. Consider this group S3, symmetric group of degree 3 on 3 symbols. It has 6 permutations. If we write this in cycle notation form, then first one is identity, this one, this is identity, every element goes to itself. The second element, in the second element 1 goes to 2, 2 goes to 3 and 3 goes to 1. So it's a cycle of length 3. Third element, in the third permutation 1 goes to 3, 3 goes to 2 and 2 goes to 1. So again it's a cycle of length 3. Fourth element, this one, here 1 goes to 1, so that we will not write. Then the next smallest symbol is 2, so 2 goes to 3 and 3 goes to 2. So this one is a cycle of length 2. Then this element is simply 1 3, 2 is fixed under this cycle, and the last one is 1 2. So S3 contains two elements of length 3 and 3 permutations of length 2. So this is the theorem that says that every permutation on a finite set is either itself a cycle or is a product of disjoint cycles. So let us prove this theorem. For this we take alpha, a permutation on a finite set X having n elements. Let us choose any x1 in X, fix x1 in X. Theoretically we are choosing any x1, but practically it is better to choose the smallest symbol. So we choose x1 in X, and suppose after applying alpha on x1 we get another element x2. Then again applying alpha on x2 we get x3, but alpha of x2 is alpha of x1, so it becomes alpha square of x1. So this way we get a sequence alpha x1 starting with x1, then alpha x1, and then alpha square x1, and so on. So we are having this sequence. A sequence contains infinitely many terms, but remember we have only n symbols. So this sequence must contain two same symbols. So there must exist I and j, so that alpha I x1 is same as alpha j x1, where I is less than j. That would mean that alpha raised to power j minus I of x1 is x1. Now see carefully here, when we write alpha square, when we apply alpha square on x1 we get symbol x3. Similarly, if we get alpha cube x1 we will get x4. So if this is alpha to the power j minus I, then this symbol will be xj minus I plus 1. So we have an integer j minus I plus 1 such that xj minus I plus 1 is again x1. So when we start with an element x1 and keep on applying alpha again and again on the images, after some stage we reach at the same point, same symbol x1 where we started with. So let m be the smallest such that xm is equal to x1. Then we get this cycle in alpha x1 x2 xm. So if alpha itself is a this whole cycle, that means all the symbols of x, all the symbols appear here, then alpha itself will become a cycle and we are done. Otherwise there will exist a symbol y1 in X such that y1 is not equal to any of these symbols that are already appeared x1 x2 xm. So we proceed as before and create another cycle y1 y2 yk of length k, just as we created the cycle x1 x2 xm. Now this new cycle will not contain any of the symbols of the previous cycles x1 x2 xm, because suppose this cycle y1 y2 yk contains a symbol from the earlier cycle x1 x2 xm. Any symbol here we get by applying some power of alpha to x1, and any symbol here in this cycle we get by applying a power of alpha to y1. y2 is alpha of y1, y3 is alpha square of y1, and so on. So if we assume that there is a common symbol between these two cycles, then alpha to the power I x1 will be equal to some power of alpha of y1, alpha j y1. That will imply that alpha raised to power I minus j x1 is y1. So that means y1 is appearing in this cycle, because in this cycles all elements appear when we apply some power of alpha to x1. So y1 is appearing here now, but this is a contradiction because we have chosen y1 in such a way that y1 is not equal to any of these symbols. So these two cycles are disjoint. So if alpha is a product of these two, then our job is done. Alpha is a product of these two cycles only. Otherwise, if there exists another element that is not appearing in these two cycles, then we can proceed as before. So applying the same process, we will get the third cycle, and so on. We continue like this. But because there are only finitely many symbols in X, this process must stop after a finite number of steps. And after a finite number of steps, we will get that alpha is a product of disjoint cycles.